out.
Well, go out and love someone.
If I do, have you told her? No, you know me, I'm too shy. Here, I could cable her.
Why not semaphore? Arthur, you've got to declare yourself openly. Otherwise you'll stay right where you are.
Getting started in the 2 yards of canvas, denim or twill, and 2 yards of lining, and we're going to be using a soft twill for the lining. 3 zippers, and I recommend grabbing all 24-inch because we will be trimming them down to size. 3 yards of 1-inch webbing and 1.5 yards of 1.5-inch webbing. 4 1.5-inch D-rings. 2 1-inch swivel clips and 2 1.5-inch swivel clips. And lastly, you need your pattern, and this pattern is available at properfitclothing.com. Super easy to use, just download it, print it, and you're ready to go. And the links for all the supplies will be in the description, so definitely go check that out. And after cutting out your pattern, you're going to want to end up with 2 front main panels with lining, 1 back panel with lining, 2 side panels with lining, 1 bottom zipper main panel with lining, 2 top zipper main panels with lining, 2 strap panels, and 1 top back pocket and bottom back pocket. Grab one of your zippers and one of your front main panels, both the outer layer and the lining. Place the zipper with right side to the right side of the main outer layer. And grab the lining and place it over top, sandwiching that zipper in between both of the front main panels. Go ahead and pin that together and sew along that edge. And this pattern calls for a 1/4 inch seam allowance.
He seems kind of helpless. Helplessness is the last thing I am looking for.
Fold the panels with right side up, and now we're going to go ahead and add a top stitch along that seam. So what we're going to do is place those panels back to back and sew right on top of that outer layer. Grab the other front main panel, lining, and outer layer. Place the outer layer exactly across from the first one, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Pin it together and sew along that edge. And this is just going to be on the opposite side of that zipper.
You mean marriage?
Of course.
You've got a nerve.
Got several of them. They're all functioning normally.
Do you realize what you've said?
I should do. It's pounded in my brain often enough. Asleep and
And again, fold the flaps back to back and top stitch along that edge.
Well, come on. What's your answer?
You take my breath away.
No, it's just the sudden realization, you see, of the fact that I love you.
From your 1-inch webbing, cut 2 32-inch strips. Then mark 5 inches in on both top and bottom, and you can draw a line or just use marks, and do this to both of the panels. Make sure you fold the lining back, and what you're going to do is place that webbing along the inside of those markings. And this is going to be the middle handle for the duffel bag. You'll want to repeat this process for the other side. And you're going to want to sew on the outer edges of the webbing as close as you can to the edge, and go up about 1.5 inches from the zipper.
Reach the wizard.
And I recommend stitching a box at the top for extra strength. And then go ahead and do the exact same thing for the other straps. And as you can see, we went about 1.5 inches from the zipper. You can go further if you want. It's totally up to you. It's going to give you more room for the strap. But I found 1.5 inches is a really good distance. Just make sure they're all even, so that way the weight is distributed evenly. Grab the bottom zipper main panels, both the outer layer and the lining, and what you're going to do is place them right sides together, sandwiching them in between both of those layers. And once you have them lined up, go ahead and pin that on and sew along that edge.
Reach the wizard.
And now you can go ahead and trim the remainder of that zipper. Fold the panels flat and top stitch along that edge.
Untitled, it means going along, listening to all the things you can't hear, and not bothering.
Grab a zipper and mark 19 inches from the bottom and your front main zipper panels. Move the zipper train down past that 19-inch mark and pin the zipper together. And moving to the bottom of the zipper, we're gonna grab one set of your panels and place them right in front of the stopper. And make sure they're placed on the train so you can sew over them. And these panels are gonna be sandwiching that zipper just like in the other steps. Once you have them into position, go ahead and pin them on, and we're gonna do the same thing on the 19-inch mark. And what we're gonna do is sew across on both sides. Once you have them sewn on, go ahead and snip the remainder of the zipper on both sides. Fold the panels out with back sides touching and add a top stitch. And again, do this for both of the sides. Now we're going to take that same zipper and place it on the other side of that main panel with right sides together. And before you start sewing, make sure you move that zipper train in past that other zipper. And once you have it moved in, go ahead and sew along that edge. Trim the remainder of that zipper. And for that raw edge, we're gonna add a double folded bias tape, and this is gonna clean up that edge and add for extra strength. So we're gonna be using a double fold bias tape binder to clean up those edges, and you can definitely get these for domestic sewing machines too. We're gonna have links in the description. So go ahead and cut out long pieces of bias tape that are the right measurements to the width of your binder. The other option is to use a bias tape making kit, and this is where you pretty much just make your own bias tape. And it comes with a presser foot that helps you attach the bias tape to your garment. And it's pretty simple to use. All you have to do is cut a strip, feed it through, and iron it. And after that, it works the same as the bias tape. You just fold it over and sew it on, or you use that attachment. And if you don't have access to any of these options, it's not that big of a deal. You can go ahead and skip this step. Grab your 1.5-inch webbing and cut 2 4.5-inch strips, and also grab 2 of your D-rings. Feed the webbing through your D-ring and place it at the center of the zipper on both sides. Once you have them lined up, you can go ahead and pin them on and sew as close as you can to the outside edge. Next, we're going to be making the strap, so go ahead and grab one of your strap panels, fold it in half the long ways, and sew across that edge. Then grab 4.5 inches of webbing and your strap adjuster, feed it through the back of your strap adjuster, and then place it on the inside of that strap. And you're going to want to line it up directly in the center of that panel. Leave about 1/4 inch of that webbing sticking out at the top. And once you have it in position, go ahead and sew along that edge. And now we're going to take a piece of foam and sew it onto that seam allowance, and the foam should be cut exactly the same size as the strap and have it extend out just a little bit past. This is going to make it easy to keep that foam into position as you pull the right side of that strap out. And once it's attached, go ahead and flip the right side of that strap out. And if you don't have foam, you can totally skip this step. You don't need it. It's just going to add a little extra comfort on those straps. Next, we're going to add a top stitch across the bottom edge of that strap. And then for the last stitch, we're going to go directly down the center of that strap. Then go ahead and repeat this process for the other strap. Next, grab your top back pocket panel, mark 1 inch in on both sides, and grab your other zipper. And as you can see, it's way too long, but it's okay because we're going to trim the ends. And place that panel in the center of the zippers with the right sides together. And you can go ahead and trim any foam that sticks out the end of your straps. And we're going to take those straps and line them up on the inside of that 1 inch mark on both sides. And this is going to be on the back side of that zipper. And once you have everything into position, go ahead and pin it down and sew along that edge. Fold that panel flat and add a top stitch along that edge. Grab the bottom back pocket panel and place it on the opposite side of that zipper with right sides together. Pin it on and sew across that edge. And again, flip that panel down and add a top stitch along that edge. Cut 2 4.5 inch strips of your 1.5 inch webbing, grab your D-rings, and at the bottom of that back pocket panel, mark 1 inch up from the bottom. Place the bottom of the webbing on those marks and sew as close as you can to that edge. Grab your back main panel and place it behind your pocket panel. Line up the tops, and what we're going to do is add a stitch along the same spot that we added the top stitch. Now we're gonna grab the back panel lining and place it behind that whole panel. And if you're wondering why you don't see the D-rings sewn onto my panel, it's because I forgot to sew them on before this step, so I wanted to add that in there. But just imagine that they're there and make sure that your D-rings are sewn on 1 inch from the bottom at this point. And again, they have to be sewn onto the bottom pocket panel. So with all the layers together, go ahead and match it up with the side of your front main panels. Pin it on and go ahead and sew along that edge. Go ahead and trim that zipper end. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Make sure the right sides are together, line up those edges, pin it on, and sew along that edge.
No one can say he's lived until he's loved.
Well, go out and love someone.
I do, Have you told her? No, you know me, I'm too shy. Here, I could cable her.
Why not semaphore? After you've got to declare.
Before you start sewing, make sure you move that zipper train towards the center of that panel. And again, go ahead and trim the remainder of that zipper. And what you're going to do now is add the bias tape to both of these raw edges. And before you add it, make sure you snip any of the webbing or zipper that is sticking out past that seam. Next, we're going to grab the side panels, both the outer layer and the lining, place those together, and what you're going to do is pin them all the way around the outside of that edge. And once you have it pinned on, go ahead and sew all the way around that outside edge. And this part can be a little bit tricky. I recommend taking your time and just sewing slow along that edge.
Simple man, I have plain simple feelings, and I use plain simple words. And I simply have to let you know, plainly, that I plainly and pimply want.
And go ahead and trim any of the webbing or anything sticking out of the outside of that seam. And we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. So pin it on and sew all the way around the outside edge. And once you have both side panels sewn on, you can go ahead and add bias tape to both of those edges all the way around the outside edge. And once you added the bias tape, you can go ahead and pull the right side out. And once you have the right side out, do a quick look over the back, make sure that all the edges are sewn together. We're gonna make in the shoulder strap now, so go ahead and cut a 44-inch piece of 1.5-inch webbing and your two 1.5-inch swivel clips. Slide the webbing through one of the swivel clips, roll that edge over twice so it's a nice clean edge, pin it down. Take the opposite end and feed through the slide adjuster and pull it down just a little ways. Grab the other swivel clip, feed it through, and then back through that slide adjuster. And once you have it pulled through, go ahead and fold that edge over twice, make it a nice clean edge, and pin it down.
Please, if we're going to spend
And go ahead and sew both of those edges.
learn not to interrupt.
The rest of our lives?
Yes,
You mean marriage?
of course.
You've got a nerve.
Got several of them.
And you can go ahead and clip that strap on or slide it in the back pocket.
I should do. It's pounded in my brain often enough, asleep and awake.
And now we're gonna finish the back strap, so go ahead and pull them out of that pocket in the back.
What's your answer?
Grab two 17-inch pieces of 1-inch webbing and your other two swivel clips. Feed the webbing through the swivel clip just like you did on the shoulder bag, fold it over twice, and pin that on. And for the other side, feed it through the bottom portion of that strap adjuster. And once you have it through, go ahead and pull it out and fold that edge over twice, just like you did on the shoulder strap. Sew those edges down and your back shoulder straps are good to go. And a final little touch is adding zipper pulls, and you can either use parachute cord or buy zipper pulls off of Amazon. The links will be in the description. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you think. We're going to keep the videos coming at you, so we'll see you next time.